Welcome to Institute of Global Professional. Good evening, everyone. I'm not a professional host. Today our speaker is Carlin from Philippines.
Hello, sir.
Hello,
Good
ma'am.
evening.
Carlin. That's my, you can introduce yourself. Thank you.
So, good evening, everyone. I'm Carlene Marine from the Philippines, and currently I am a secondary high or a high school teacher in Bicol Regional Science High School, Philippines. And just a little bit of my background. So, for 8 years, so I taught in a private school in Makati City that is St. Anthony of Makati Montessori Incorporated. That's actually one of the biggest schools in Makati City. And I was able to work there for 8 years. And um, I was also promoted. I got promoted as a coordinator after for a couple of years. Then before I left, before I left private school, I was the assistant principal there for a year. Well, um, it's a home away from home, so um, I need to go back to our province for my children, for my family. But right now, I am teaching in a public school and enjoying myself right now here in Bicol region, Philippines. And I'm once again opening new worlds for myself and um, exploring new ideas in the public setting, sir. So right now, may I just also add, sir, aside from being a teacher, I'm also a language teacher, so an English coordinator and a reading coordinator as well, and the public information officer of the school. So that's it for now.
Okay, ma'am. You can carry on.
Thank you so much, sir. So right now, I'm going to present or to share my screen to you. Sir, can you see my presentation right now?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
Thank you so much. So once again, hello everyone and good evening. Once again, I'm Perlene Marine from the Philippines and we are streaming live right now. So um, you guys out there, I want you to feel free to comment, to show your reactions, to support me. And I want you to be engaged tonight in my simple presentation about coaching, mentoring, and feedback giving. And I'll be giving some questions, and I hope you could find time to type in your answers. Okay? So please stay connected. So, right now, I want to know if you are familiar with this honorable man. So, especially those who are basketball enthusiasts. I'm sure you know this guy. So, once again, you can key in or you can type your answers in the chat box or in the comment section. So, let me I continue. If your answer is Phil Jackson, so you're right. Now, he is, may I just give a little information about this honorable man? So he is a former Los Angeles Lakers head coach, and he won 11 NBA championship. Now, that's actually the most in NBA history up to date. And he won 6 titles with Chicago Bulls and 5 titles with the Lakers, and is the only coach who has won multiple championships with more than one team. Can you imagine how great he is? Now let's proceed to another honorable man. Okay, he is Mr. Julius Nervanfo. So, Mr. Julius Irvin Hikaru T. Nervanfo was born on June 14, 1991. He is a Guamanian weightlifter. He is also a coach and filmmaker. He competed for Guam in the 2017 Asian Indoor and Martial Arts Games. And he coaches Olympic weightlifter Heidelin Diaz. Okay, the weightlifter who brought the first gold medal to the Philippines from the Olympics. Let's proceed. Now let me see if you know the third guy. Can you give me a guess? So if your answer is Efren Peña Florida Jr., then you got it right. So let me share to you some information about him. So as you can see in the photo, he bagged the award Hero of the Year. So definitely he has no cape and he has no superpowers at all. But you know what seems to be amazing in this guy is how he propelled himself as an educator, especially in the especially in reforming the kids in the poverty-stricken community in Cavite, Philippines. Now, let us go back to his humble beginnings. So people first saw him going around the neighborhood, pushing his improvised cart. So I am really impressed and motivated, inspired by this guy. So he was pushing his cart loaded with food, with notebooks, pens, uh, books, and other reading material. So people are really curious on what he is doing. Then um, why why is Efren going around the neighborhood pushing a mobile classroom? So the main reason of Efren Peña Florida was to peddle love for education. You know what? Um, he even left his well-paying job as a private school teacher just to teach street children on how to read. So this is really a very amazing guy. Now let us go to the three people. We have Julius. We have Sir. We have Sir Phil. We have Julius, and we have Sir Peña Florida. As you can see, these three are great individuals and really one of a kind. They have shown excellent work in their craft and have helped ordinary and even well known individuals. But um, as we all know, this person is not in the limelight, they're not in the spotlight. Who are more famous? It's the person they are teaching, right? So these three men play a very crucial role, and that is coaching. So let us find out what coaching means. So we have an experienced person, also known as a coach. What does she do? She needs learners. She needs a coachee. He or she needs a coachee. And then when you say a coachee or a learners or a learner, it can be her students, it can be a colleague, it can even be an administrator. So, coaching is a form of development in which an experienced person called a coach supports a learner in achieving a specific personal or professional goal by providing training and guidance. So, it's not that easy by merely just teaching a person, by merely just sharing your ideas. Can it be considered coaching already? Definitely not. It needs rigorous training and guidance. So the end goal is to achieve personal and professional growth. Now, there are different forms of coaching, but tonight we're just going to focus on coaching in terms of education. So we have here coaching is applied to support students, faculty, and administrators in educational organizations. For students, opportunities for coaching includes collaborating with fellows. So you also need no man is an island. So you can do this by helping each other. A faculty member should help a colleague in order for them to coach a certain student, or in order for a coach to help a colleague, that colleague should also reciprocate. That colleague should also help him by giving also his best and learn what the coach is teaching him. This wouldn't be possible without the support also of the administration. So for students, opportunities for coaching include collaborating with fellow students to improve grades and skills. So those are the effects. Okay, it improves later on um, after cycling coach or after a cycle of coach. You will see the performance increasing or improving. Now, to improve grades and skills, both in academic and social, for teachers and administrators. Now, as educators, of course, we are not just teaching them how to be smart, how to be intelligent, but we have to make sure that we should also inculcate values behind that intelligence. So, in support of that intelligence. Now, coaching can help with transitions into new roles. For example, now in here, how do we know who is a coach and who is coached? Frequently, the role of the coach is performed by a range of adults. For example, general education and special education teachers and expertise in instructional practices and school psychologists often assume the role of coach. Now, for you to be a coach, you have to be an expert of something. It has to be a research based. What you're going to coach them should be anchored from a research, should be anchored from your experience. And as you can see, we've made mention there about adults because we are also interrelating it to their experiences. Now, what is the purpose or what is the goal of coaching? Improving coaching practice with a particular emphasis on increasing the use of practices shown to be highly effective, including evidence based practices. So, um, experts would do trial and error of different practices, and they would even pilot test it to different schools. And once it's proven, then after that, It'll be put into paper. It'll be they're going to conduct a research about it, and then once approved, then probably it can be cascaded to different schools, and then put it into actualization, materialize it to improve the level of performance of a certain teacher, or let's say a student. He or she should be provided with research and experience based practices, not just third hand information. Okay, so it should be anchored with, again, research based and experience based practices. This is also the main reason why we need to attend webinars. So there are some teachers who are actually tired, let me use the word tired, of webinars, because maybe because um, it goes hand in hand also with our schedule in teaching. But actually, trying to think of the positive side, these webinars are for free, right? So we can actually get a lot of information from it and apply it in our classroom, whether virtual or face to face. Now, this is also the main reason why we need these webinars. And since these sessions are capacity building avenues for teachers, so that's why these are really important. Like, let's say, webinars, workshops, trainings, and not just mainly for promotion. So others are actually using it for promotion, but we have to inculcate that um, we only have one main goal, and that is to teach our children, to teach our learners. So they should be the end goal of these uh, goals or purposes. And we want to improve ourselves simply because we as teachers, and we do it for the welfare of our students. So to continue, improving learning academic and behavioral outcomes through through improved teaching practices. So by coaching, you simply see the effect. Okay, you can see there that the students may be uh, that the students might be showing a significant difference or a significant performance this time because of your coaching, because of your style in teaching now, because of what you have learned in the coaching cycle. And behavioral outcomes follows next. Now later on, I'll be discussing about feedback giving or feedbacking. But let's have a bird's eye view about it first. For us to know if our coaching is effective, we should see the results. And what are these results? One is improved teaching practice. You, as a teacher, you know if a certain strategy or a certain practice is effective because you will see it in the scores of your students. You will see it with the manner of their articulation to you, with how they express their thoughts, with their study habits as well. They feel more engaged and they feel more excited every time you're going to have your lesson. So you also see it through through the learner outcomes, or eh, to be technical, we can see it through post test, through their scores in their quizzes, through assessment, and through the reflections in their portfolio. So these things. Now, um, for us to effectively coach someone, as I said, it can be a student or it can be a colleague or an administrator. We have to have these things. We need to undergo observation. We need to do observation, modeling, performance feedback, and relationship building strategies. So let's move forward. Let us go to observation. Now, as we all know what observation means, but this refers to the direct monitoring of the teacher in a learning environment. So I just grabbed this photo from Google. So it seems like that the coach is um, observing diligently, and she is very serious in observing the coachee or the teacher. Now, the primary purpose of observation is to enable a coach to engage in other coaching practices, such as modeling or providing performance. For example, observation allows the coach to collect data on the teacher's use of evidence based practice, or it may provide opportunities for the coach to model the use of that same evidence based practice. So that's why here in the Philippines, whenever our coach observes us, she or he would always have a pen and paper with her, or she would always take down notes what she observed in the classroom. And she is actually gathering data while she observes. And what are those data? Probably she's taking down notes, or um she wants to take down notes of your strengths, of your weaknesses, and on how you're going to improve your classroom practices. So when I say strength, it means probably the things where you're good at, okay? From the motivation up to the evaluation. So the technique that you have used, or the manner of communicating to your students. So she would take note of that. And then the quiz that you used in your classroom, or if it has something to do also with the material that you used in your classroom. It can also be on the test construction. So your coach can take note of that. And let's see what happened next after observation. We have here modeling. Now, in modeling, this occurs when a coach demonstrates how to use the practice. Yes, the coach demonstrates how to use the practice. Now, is it ethical, or is it right? You might be asking, is it right if your coach, while you are conducting your classroom or your class, your coach will intervene and teach you in front of your students? Yes, the answer is yes. Especially if the coach notice that you are doing the practice erroneously. So, modeling is most typically used by a coach when a teacher is not correctly using a practice with the learner, or does not know how to use that practice. But of course, in a nice way. The coach will not just barge in. Okay, he might also do it in a discreet way, like by maybe whispering to you, I think you should do this. I think it's better if you'll try this one. So it doesn't mean that he or she will get the spotlight from you. Okay? Now, however, modeling may also occur when learners are not present. So maybe um, after class, he will tell you that I think um, it could turn out better if you have made use of this certain strategy. So things like that. Now, the primary purpose of interclassroom situated modeling is to help the teacher better understand how the accurate use of a practice looks and how it impacts the performance of the learner. So here, the coach and the coachee, or the coach or the learner, should not take it personally. It should always be in objective way, not subjective way. So there's always a room for improvement, so accept it. That's why he is your coach. So from right from every now and then, he'll be telling you if you are doing something erroneous or something wrong with the practice, your practice in the classroom. That's why he is called coach. Okay, let's move forward to performance feedback. This entails the coach presentation of data to the teacher on his or her teaching practice. Now, feedback is most effective when it is specific, positive, timely, and corrective, if warranted as well. Now, specific feedback, as opposed to general feedback, includes precise information okay, about teaching practices that benefit learners. So we have, for example, the general feedback. Um, as a coach, we should avoid giving general feedbacks like "very good," "great job," "you're improving." It has to be specific. Where should the teacher um, where should the teacher improve specifically? On what technique did he made error? So an example is of great or of general feedback is like, for example, general great teaching or very good, and may not explain to teachers why some teaching practices are more effective than others. So when you comment as a coach, when you comment, you should always give the details, okay? Not just give exactly where the error is. You also have to clarify your feedback. And specific feedback clarifies how teachers' practices directly impact learning. So, for example, in our school, in Bicol Regional Science High School, we often have FGD or focus group discussion in our department. So, um, with our mentors or coaches, they would often tell us and advise us on the things that we need to work on or to improve on. So that's why the next time, of course, we're not going to commit it anymore. So that's one good way of giving feedback to your learners or to your coachee. Now, during small group instruction, 4 out of 5 learners were, for example, actively engaged in the task you assigned. So make sure you also have to conduct individualized teaching. Do not focus to your 5 learners as a group, okay? Even though they are working as a group, you have to delve deeper by teaching them individually. What is the strength of this boy? What is the weakness of the second one? How can I improve the performance of the third one? So you have to teach them individually. So in feedback giving, it includes overt statements of praise for the teacher's use of specific practices. So for example, good job, or using or stating behavioral expectations during the morning meeting. Now, a corrective feedback is very important and used only when warranted. I've seen a video about feedback giving wherein sometimes our mentors or the mentee or the learner would shun away from the feedback of the coach because he is not ready or because he was shocked. So that's why before you give your feedback, make sure you have a little introduction first before you go directly to your feedback. Or else that person might probably retaliate or um, uh, reason out why he commit or why he did something about the practice or why he used this certain practice. Now, how can we increase how can we increase praise for learners while reducing redirections? So the timeliness of feedback also seems to be important. Here in the Philippines, let me just share also. We have this so-called COT or classroom observation tool. That's how we measure classroom observation. Now, we also have IPCRF, RPMS, wherein one part there is that the teachers need to give feedback, a timely feedback rather. So most probably 5 days after giving it to you, or much better, immediately. It needs immediate feedback. in order for the student or for the learner to correct his mistake immediately as well. Now, the timeliness of feedback also seems to be important. Feedback is considered timely when it is delivered within roughly the same day of an observation. So the most is returning their quizzes, their assessments on the day. Okay? Now, coaches can use several delivery mechanisms for providing feedback. While feedback can be discussed in a face to face, post observation conference, and it can also be through virtual. So, just like what we're having right now. So, before, during the pre pandemic, so we're used to give feedbacks face to face or in person. But right now, we can actually give feedback via different online platforms. Now, it also may be provided via bug in ear technology or just like online platforms. This technology allows a coach to observe. So you can also invite your coach during your online class. So probably your coach will just turn off his microphone and his camera as well. Then he can simply observe you, even though it's virtual. Now, it is unclear, however, whether this format for providing feedback improves both teacher practice and outcomes among learners of all ages. But actually, based from research, it's more effective on preschoolers because simply because preschoolers, when your coach observes you via virtual platform, so these these young learners aren't aware yet that someone is really observing them. But when you try to observe a teacher with teenagers, so definitely some teenagers will not show their genuine reaction or might probably do something else in order to perform because they know that they are being observed. So you're not going to get genuine data according to Cunningham. Now, graphs, charts, how do we give feedback? Graph, you can show a graph, you can show a research, a chart, and an oral feedback are frequently used to deliver feedback, according to Solomon 2012. Such feedback may be particularly powerful when used to develop action plans. Based from our recent um, learning action cell, we've learned about assessment and about feedback weaving. Now, we have to look back from the previous school year, and during summer break, you have to take down notes and recall what are the problems that you have encountered back in our last school year. Then, in your action plan or in your basic education continuity plan, you have to include there um, the things that happened last year and how you're going to improve it. Okay? So that you'll avoid committing the same mistake. Now, to help teachers engage in problem solving process as they attempt to implement new practices. So, I even have here feedback giving is really very important. In fact, I have uh, different sticky notes and I have a lot of small notebooks like this. And then I would often write um, different um, observations from my co-teachers, from my colleagues, from our head, from our head teacher, from our principal, and then so if that is if I consider it, if I think that it's considered as a best practice, so I would often write it down. So I even have one here. This is from one of the principals in Ligao City. So this is one of her feedback in my lesson plan. So it's really very important and it's also very helpful for you as a teacher because you can always look back and aside from reminiscing the memory, of course, you can also remember that um, these were the commits or the errors that you have committed before. And It's also a way of reflection for you that you have improved. So let's continue. We also have another part of that, which is relationship or alliance building strategies. This includes the development of a positive teacher coach relationship. A strong alliance between teachers and coaches establishes a solid foundation for subsequent work between the dyad. Within the early learning development, alliance has been referred to as collaborative partnership, helping each other. You need to have harmonious relationship with your coach. Again, let me emphasize that you need to have harmonious relationship with your coach. So you have to consider your coach as your ally and not your enemy, because if not, every word that will come out from his mouth, definitely you're going to consider it as an attack against you. So you have to accept it objectively. Okay? Um, it is important for you to realize that, or you have to inculcate that your coach is trying to help you and not attacking your personality or your professional growth. He's just merely helping you. So that's why you need to have, as I said, a harmonious relationship. Now, you have to see his comments, his feedback as constructive criticism. Okay? So you have to take it objectively and not subjectively. Let's continue. So alliance is shaped by several factors. We have interpersonal skills, we also have collaboration skills, and the coach expertise in the area in which he or she is coaching. So therefore, he should be an expert of something. Now, I have here a sample strategy wherein, as you are being observed from the moment, you have to craft your action plans or goal setting to your focus group discussion to classroom implementation and end up to reflection. Now, under modeling, so we have here, that is in the observation. Okay, so we have here an effective coaching practices. So we have observation and description. Watching a teacher in the classroom environment use a specific program, intervention, or practice. So as your coach observes you, what is she trying to, what is he or she is trying to observe? She's trying to observe how you use a specific program or an intervention to the learner. When you say intervention, how you help a certain student on improving his performance, especially those students who are being left behind because of different factors. Now, when is this used? Every coaching cycle. When we say every coaching cycle, this pertains to from from the very beginning. You started your coaching up to the end. So you start with the goal setting, you planning, observation, and then down to reflection. That's what you call coaching cycle. Next is modeling. Modeling, also referred to as demonstration, showing the teacher how to use a specific program, intervention, or practices. So just like in our learning action cell, so we would often um, uh, show what we have learned from a certain webinar or seminar or workshops. So we re-echo it to our colleagues in order for them to learn it as well. So that is just a part, okay? Then when should we use it? It depends based on need. So during the pandemic, most of the webinars were about technology because because we are really in need of that, especially during distance learning. And in our school, Bicol Regional Science High School, we are using blended learning. We have online class and we also have uh, modular. So let's continue. Effective coaching practices, another one is performance feedback. So for the description, you have to present a formal or informal data about the teacher's use of a specific program, intervention, or practice. So this time, the coach will show you her notes. This is what I've observed from your class. Okay, and then of course, the characteristics of effective feedback, as what we've said earlier, it should be specific, it should be positive, but not all the time, of course. And it should be corrective if warranted. Now, um, positive in a way that you are not trying to, your way of delivery is not like you are attacking the person. So it should be like a sandwich method, right? Positive. Then maybe you can add a little negative or things that needs improvement and another positive. Then timely delivery mechanism. It can be verbal, it can be written, or it can be through graphical data. You can present it through this mechanism. So next one, we have effective coaching practices, or the last one is alliance building strategies. Description: using specific strategies that relate to factors of alliance to build positive relationship in a teacher coach dyad factors or alliance. So example are interpersonal skills, collaboration, expertise, conveying. Coaching is non conveying. Now, coaching is non evaluative. Examples of this are emphatic listening. So, as a coach, I know that you have to be technical, but you also have to be empathic. You have to feel where your coachee is coming from as well. Okay? Because no matter how much you coach that person, if that coachee has a problem that she needs to solve as well, so then it defeats the purpose. So you have to be emphatic. Now, retaining and summarizing information conveyed by the teacher, conveying expertise in teaching and deep content area knowledge, identifying and working toward teacher goals and needs. Now, we should also do that every coaching cycle. Now, let us go back to what I mentioned about interpersonal skills. I'm sure you have heard this also even before. So, in under the interpersonal skills, we have effective communication. This one is about building trust to each other, and a non-evaluative or non-judgmental language. So here's an example on how to start it, on how to start the conversation. So summarizing, what I hear from your comments is, or an open-ended question. Can you tell me more about that? So that you will keep them engaged on your communication. Affirm difficulty of change. This is really hard. So, um, as for you to have a harmonious relationship and in order to build interpersonal skills, you have to be honest to each other. Okay, I know that you have to try, but you also have to inform your coach if the practice was really hard, or if the one or the the technique that he is teaching you is really hard for you, and what makes it hard. So you have to tell him the adversaries or the predicaments. Non-evaluative language. Coaching is about supporting your teaching practice, not about evaluating how you teach. Yes, that's true. Next is collaboration. So here, meeting needs and goals and conveying that improving teaching is teamwork. So as I said a while ago, um, you have to consider your coach as your alliance, okay? So not your enemy. So you always remember that you are a team going to help. You should be helping each other. So refer to past accomplishments. This week, you hope to accomplish, so you have to create a vision. Refer to current goal. Your goal for this week is, so you have to specify to him or her that This is the target objective for this week, so that he or she will not be out of track. Help teacher progress towards goals. Let's talk about what we'll do to meet that goal. I can help you out by, so what do you think you will try to do? So as a coach, this um, introduction will help you engage to your coaching. Expertise in teaching in the content area. Of course, we cannot give what we don't have. So we have to be an expert of something in order for us to mentor someone, in order for us to coach someone, I mean. So let's refer to the effective teaching practices. Here's an introduction on how to start a conversation. Learners who struggle to show mastery benefit from explicit and systematic instruction. Explicit means, and then after that, you continue explaining it. Convey deep content area knowledge. We know that effective reading instruction focuses on five pillars of reading. This includes, so what are the five pillars of reading? So you have to enumerate it to your learner. Explain complex concepts succinctly. So the tier 3 learner may show challenging behavioral because then you have to explain the reasons. Now, let us now move forward to mentoring. There are six strategies for mentoring teachers at a distance. Of course, there are still some schools who are still conducting distance learning, just like here in the Philippines. So we still have distance learning. We still teach through distance learning. So we have the first one is weekly to meet weekly in a virtual or real-time platform so you can see and hear each other. Now, using live video and audio capabilities like Zoom, StreamYards, Skype allows the pair to see and hear each other, maintaining continuity of typical face-to-face interaction. So it feels like you're in the classroom as well. Additionally, teacher mentors can better interpret nuances in voice and posture when both participants are engaged in visible or live discussion, although it's still considered more engaging if it's face to face. Now, we encourage the mentors and mentees to recreate their school based planning and reflecting conversation by using active video to provide a deeper and more relatable conversation between both educators. So, live video meaning you can interact with your students, okay? Because if it's pre recorded, definitely it seems like your student is just watching an ordinary video, okay? So, it has to be a live video wherein you can interact with your students. We found that after an initial adjustments to appearing on camera, most participants fell into an easy routine. So they'll get the hang of it after a couple of weeks or days. Let's continue. Keep a consistent schedule. Now, this is very important. Like, if you held a weekly meeting when school was in session, you have to do the same now that you are in a meeting from home. So, before, you have focus group discussion face to face, and then this time during distance learning, whether you are coaching your colleagues or your learner, it should always be consistent. Okay? Create a date or a yes, a day in a week wherein you're going to meet. You're going to have your your lesson. So it has to be exact, okay? And the day or time might be different from your face-to-face sessions. But it's important to continue with planned meetings each week. Like for example, if you have a planner with you, for you to um, not run out of activities, you have to plan a monthly activity, okay? So that you'll stay focused on your goals. These planned interactions provide opportunities for our mentors to offer timely support as well as meaningful open-ended reflective questions by allowing mentees to move beyond crisis support. The meetings created opportunities to explore future possibilities and synthesize new understanding. Now, the third one is to reflect on the face-to-face year. So let's try to go back 2 years ago. Now, being physically distant from classrooms can be an opportunity for contemplation, right? We realize a lot of things because of this pandemic. Now, um, we of course we miss our students so much. We also realize the importance of face-to-face meetings, and we also realize that it's really better when you are with your students rather than virtual, right? They learn better based from experience. So for number four, share documents and video for authentic feedback. Now, when we are teaching in our school buildings, our mentors often co-taught a lesson or visited our classrooms, right? Co-teaching opportunities still exist with remote teaching, and they can be powerful. In fact, um, in my assessment to my students, I co-teach with science. So I integrated my assessment to my students in their recent lesson in science. So it's an integration. Now it's also called peer teaching or co-teaching, observing mentees' skills firsthand. Now, when viewing mentors' recordings, mentees focus on areas they were working on. Mentees and mentors also simultaneously viewed portions of mentees' lessons, during which mentors asked questions about choices made and their outcomes. And it's also very important. I've learned also in one of the webinars that I've attended that it's very important for you to, since we are now teaching virtually and even in face-to-face classroom, it's very important for you to record your class discussion. After your class, you can view your video, and you yourself will know how you're going to improve teaching or your practices next time. Okay? So it's like self reflection. Next, number five. So in here, you have to take advantage of the mentor mentee reciprocal relationship. Mentors and mentees adjust to distance learning and new ways to implement lessons. Now, the opportunity encourages teachers to tap into each other's strengths. So, you have to help each other by sharing his strengths and your strengths to each other. For instance, if a new teacher is aware of a new platform, for example, ClassPoint, so he can share it to your group, to the colleagues, or to your focus group discussion. And then, if you've also attended a workshop, you can also re-echo it to them. So it's helping each other. Now, throughout the year, you have to encourage professional, supportive, and collaboration, and the sudden shift in schooling advanced relationship organically or organized. When both educators focus on professional growth, both teachers, students reap the benefits. So, in all schools, it should be like that actually. Teachers should be helping a co teacher because it's for their common goal to help the students, for the welfare of the students. So another thing is we have to share documents and videos for authentic feedback. So it should be available. Especially, this is most advisable to new teachers because they're still learning. Okay, they're still testing the waters, as what we say. So authentic feedback should always be available. So first year teachers anticipated end of year celebrations with their students, staff, and mentors. So instead, the school year wrapped up in unanticipated ways. So that's why new teachers should always be updated and should always confide with the seasoned teachers, with or maybe not seasoned teachers, but experienced teachers, so that he or she will know the nature of the school. Now, what is the difference between coaching and mentoring? So we have here mentoring. It's an informal association focused on building two-way, mutually beneficial relationship for long-term career movement. Whereas in coaching, as defined by Coaching Federation, um, they define coaching as a partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. The process of coaching often unlocks the previously untapped sources of imagination, productivity, and leadership. So sometimes um, people use the words mentoring and coaching interchangeably, but they do not describe the same type of working relationship. Both share specific goals, including employees' learning and career development that leads to peak performance. So yes, it's different, but it also has similarities and the realization of full potential. However, the definition, focus, role, and approach tools are different. So here, let's go now to the approach of mentoring and coaching. This is a self-directed modus operandi whereby participants have choices. So he can this approach can begin with a self-matching process and continue throughout the relationship using a committed timeline to determine how often and where individuals will meet, identify goals, and so forth. So actually, your friend can be your mentor. Okay, your colleague can be your mentor. You can ask advice from them. Okay, and whereas coaching is a bit more formal, it's a structured modus operandi or step by step process and is more frequently used whereby participants are working with a narrower perspective. So they have a specific goal. Their agenda is more specific for a short period of time. So they have a specific goal and a they also determine the specific duration on when will it start and when will it end, and oriented toward certain results. Usually, a coach is assigned to an employee within an organization. So it's more formal. So, for example, your principal will inform um, your, of course, definitely your head teacher will be the one to coach you. So that's something formal rather than a friend who is also your co teacher who is mentoring you. Tools. Now, mentoring, the most important tool is the mentoring agreement, developed, completed, and signed by both participants. So, this document formalizes commitment to the mentoring relationship. Items include individual goals, learning content, a meeting schedule, and communication method. So, your head teacher or your friend can also do this. Your colleague can also do this, wherein, although it's not so formal, just like in coaching, but you also have to be organized. Okay, so that's why you have meeting schedule and communication methods in order for you to learn better and in order for you to learn it the step by step process. Coaching. A coaching agreement is used to set ground rules for the partnership. So there's a specific rule. Within organizations, example is 360 assessments sometimes precede with the coaching session. Skills assessments are sometimes used depending on the nature of coaching program. Now, so we've seen there the differences. Now let's go to the similarities. first one is defined roles or allow individuals to envision the achievement of the desired goal. So I want to be, for example, the student wants to improved. For example, the students wants to be included in the list of top students. So for another example is when the student wants to join in a contest and wants to bag the first place. In our school, in BRSHS, we have, since it is a science school, so we have a lot of potential students. So they're really smart. They are scientifically and they are good in science and mathematics as well, also in English. And they would even join in international competitions, national competitions, and they would even bag first place. So that's how great or smart they are. And as teachers, of course, we're obliged to teach them or to coach them. Um, so during the coaching process, of course, we follow those steps that I've mentioned. And defined roles allow individuals to envision the achievement of the desired goal. So you have to envision it. um, you have to motivate your learner if he is really if he really wants to bag the first place, or is he really motivated to win. So you have to assess your coachee as well, or your mentee. Working relationship require trust, respect, open communication, and flexibility. So it won't work, it defeats the purpose if you will not have these aspects to each other: trust, respect, open communication, and flexibility. You will just be in chaos if you don't have these things in you. Stakeholders include new hires, new managers, and staff promoted to senior level positions. So even if you're just a newbie in the school, of course, you can also be promoted if you show great performance. Training, education, and orientation are necessary. Definitely. Success is best achieved when senior leaders understand the return on investment and expectations regarding engagement, performance, and retention are being achieved. Lastly, the mission is to meet both individuals and organization goals. So you have to go back to the mission and vision of your school. Positive feedback. This includes overt statements or phrase and the teacher's use of specific practices. Like for example, good job, or using stating behavioral expectations during the morning. How about corrective feedback? This is used only when warranted, okay? So that your coachee will not feel, as I said, attacked. It involves the use of statements and questions that suggest that a change to teaching practice is needed. So you have to test also or feel it first if um, your coachee wants to hear the corrective feedback. A feedback giving should be specific, positive, timely, corrective, and warranted. So, what's the difference between the two? A specific feedback, as opposed to general feedback, includes precise information about teaching practices that benefits the learner. So, it's exact. Whereas general feedback may not explain to teachers why some teaching practices are more effective than others. So, that's why, as an English teacher, whenever I correct, for example, the essays of my students, I don't simply write, um, good job, this is a great work. Instead, I would often highlight their work and state um, the exact error they committed. For example, fragment, if it's about fragment, we would often, we also sometimes use Google um, Google Sheets or online platforms in order for me to directly correct it, okay, through technology. Next one, feedback is considered timely when it is delivered within roughly the same day of an observation. Coaches can use several delivery mechanisms for providing feedback. So we have using technology. Feedback may be based on informal or formal data that are presented verbally, graphically, or both. So you can tell it to your learner or verbally, or you can even present a graphics or a chart about his or her performance. Or you can do both ways. Formal data may consist of learner engagement data, whereas informal data may consist of qualitative notes on the learning environment. So you can use graph, charts, and oral feedback. These are frequently used to deliver feedback. So those are my inputs about coaching, mentoring, and feedback giving. Now, in our school, let me just share to you that uh, the most recent time wherein we used coaching, mentoring, and feedback giving was during the Brigada Pagbasa or Brigada Eskwela, wherein our school, Bicol Regional Science High School, bagged the award Best Implementing School in our division. So we were able to coach some of our students from the Supreme Student Government and some teachers also who are handling daycare students. So we partnered with them and we also conducted pre-test and post-test in order to know the performances of the students. So it was really a great experience. Now, now in order for us to be inspired, in order for us to be fueled, we should have our own coach or mentors in life. So, may I just share to you our school head. So, she is Ma'am Cristina B. Relieve. He is a secondary school principal. And then, it's always a music in my ears whenever she shares something, probably a quotation. Maybe it is not originally from her, but it's very remarkable for me. So the recent quotation that I heard from her is to hate the sin, not the sinner. So even though in our school we sometimes commit mistakes, we sometimes do foolish things, as a teachers we're not perfect, but she's very objective. Okay, she never calls us out. In fact, she would always um, inform us on how we can improve our performance. So she's one of the best. Next one is um, the owner or the directress of my former school, St. Anthony of Makati Montessori Incorporated. She's Madam Maricar L. Avitria. So I'm really very inspired by her mantra in life. So she would always tell us, if you can dream it, then you can achieve it. So she started as a public school teacher, and then she would often spend her earnings, her savings to teach her public school students. And of course, the students will retaliate, or um, they don't want to join her remedial reading classes. So she would find, for her to encourage them, she would buy food for them in order to join reading remedial classes. So she continued her goal, and then she, right now, she has three schools. Um, uh, that is St. Anthony of Makati Montessori Incorporated, with three different campuses in Makati, in Manila, and also in Mandaluyong. So, and the last one, of course, so these are my parents, Mr. and Mrs. Carlos M. Pisilier. They are my parents. They're the simple people. And they would often tell us, mag-aral ng mabuti dahil sa inyo yan, hindi yan maaagaw sa inyo nino man. In English translation, you have to study hard because it's all yours. And no one can take your education away from you. So I know that we all have our mentors in life, our coaches in life. Now, how about you? Who are those people that help you be who you are? So that ends my discussion for tonight. Once again, good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam, for a great presentation today. And thank you so much for your valuable time because you have done to share your knowledge and your experience in the webinar series. Upskilling organizational leadership and managerial skills about coaching, mentoring, and feedbacking. Thank you so much, Madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, after her speech, please say thanks for great presentations today. Well, I remind you guys, please don't forget to share, like, comments this page, and please like, share, and subscribe YouTube channel Institute Global Professionals because your attachment encourage us to do better and best service to our lovely audience. So, for the next sessions, we open quiz competitions. After that, we open questions and answer. Let's start. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, fix your skill. Okay, well, for the next sessions, we open quiz competitions. So join at slido.com in the code IGP quiz and a link in the comment box. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, join the quiz here at slido.com in the code IGP quiz. You can see that link in comment box. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, join at www.slido.com in the code IGP quiz. You can check in comment box. Okay, here for the first questions. Using blah 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 allows the pair to see and hear each other, maintaining continuity of typical face-to-face interactions. Virtual conference or group chats. Okay, and the true is virtual conference. Okay, well, for the second questions, if if you have a weekly meeting when school was in sessions, do the same now that you are meeting from blah blah blah. A workplace, B home. Workplace or home? And the answer is home. Okay, congratulations, Dennis. Okay, well, for the next questions here, the day or time might be different from your blah blah blah, but it's important to continue with plain meetings each week. A. Face to face sessions or B. Recorded video. A or B. So the truth is face to face sessions. A. Who is winner? Oh, congratulations, Mark. Okay, well, for the next questions here, being physically distant from classrooms can be an opportunity for blah blah blah. A. Contemplations or B. Relaxations. A or B, guys. And the truth is, okay, the truth is A. Contemplations. Congratulations, Melinda. Well, for the five questions, here, mentors and mentees adjust to these things, learning and new ways to implement blah blah blah. A. Lessons or B. Curriculum. Lessons or curriculum. Hmm? And the truth is, the truth is A or B. The truth is A. Lessons. Well, for the next questions, who is winner? Okay. Well, congratulations, Melinda. Okay, well, for the six questions here, feedback should be educative in nature. A, true, or B, false. Okay. Oh, so quickly, everyone. Okay. Okay, repeat again. Ah, okay. Repeat again here. Feedback should be educative in nature. A, true, or B, false. A or B, true or false. And the true is A. That's true. Okay, congratulations, Melinda. Well, for the next questions, here, effective feedback is general, timely, meaningful, and candid. A, true, or B, false? That is statement, everyone. Effective feedback is general, timely, meaningful, and candid. True or false? Okay, the true is A or B. Okay, the true is false. That's false, guys. Congratulations, Mariani. Okay, well, here, positive feedback occurs to increase the change or output. A, true, or B, false? True or false, guys? True or false? Okay, the true is okay, true is true. A. Who is winner, guys, for the 8 questions? Okay. Well, 9 questions here. Mentors and mentees jointly planned and implemented virtual lessons, which provided opportunities for the mentors to blah 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 various strategies while observing mentees' skills. A. Models or B. Create. And the truth is model or create. Ah, model. Congratulations now. Okay, well, for the last questions here, how might you modify next year's formative assessments to more accurately reflect students' understanding? Is an example of open-ended questions that encourage blah 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 A. Advancement of professional growth or B. Mental health support? Okay, the truth is A or B? Oh, A. And who is the winner, guys? Congratulations, Naulat Hatun. And congratulations all. Okay, congratulations for the top 10 winners today. Okay, congratulations, guys. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, okay, ladies and gentlemen, for the next sessions, we open questions and answer. Sorry, question and answer. Please type your name, your country, and your questions, and the speaker will answer it. Let's start. Okay, here for the first questions from Mr. Ferrus. The questions is, can overreliance on mentors guidance affect the effect of long-term partnership between mentor and mentee? Time is yours, madam.
Hi, can you hear me, Ma'am Wendy? Okay. So, a mentor's guidance affect can mentor's guidance affect the effect of long-term partnership between mentor and mentee? So definitely it creates a long-term effect because um, the mentor will be a part of the experience and the learning process of the mentee. He will serve as a mentor for him, not just for now, but he will be remembered as the mentee teaches because um, the lessons imparted by the mentor to the mentee will be actualized in his or her classroom, especially if what he have taught to her is very effective. So it will be credited to him or to her or to the mentor. It will also, may I just add in
Okay.
also, um, it will also great it will also create a great effect not just to the learner himself, not just an effect to the learners, but also to the school itself in terms of improving the school's performance. Yes, ma'am, Wendy.
Okay, thank you so much, madam. Well, for the next questions, any else?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, for the second questions from Madam Manolita Ramas Oligo, the question is, as a coach or mentor to your class, what insights did you gain? Time is yours, madam.
Okay, so as a coach or a mentor to my students, what insights did I gain? So I've learned different things from my students as well. They have taught me um, not just based from their intelligence or not just knowledge coming from them, not just trivia coming from them, but I've learned upon delving deeper to their backgrounds, upon knowing where they came from. I've learned that persistence is really an important factor for you to succeed in life. Ma'am Wendy?
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, madam. Well, any else questions, guys? Okay, from Madam Shiro here, the questions, if learners or mentees are not comfortable with you, what are some of the strategies we can adapt to build a strong relationship with our learners or mentees? Time is yours, madam.
Yes. That's a very nice question. In fact, it really happens in reality that sometimes students feel awkward when they are being coached or when they are being mentored or whenever we teach them. So, as a coach, as a teacher, you have to do it one step at a time. Do not reinforce all the things that you know to a student immediately. Okay, do not give him a bulk of information in just a day, for example. So you don't have to overwhelm them with different information in just a day. So you have to take step by step process. That's why I've made mention about the coaching cycle.
Okay, thank you so much, madam, for a great answer. Well, for the next question from Madam Zero again. The question is, how do we actually coach students who are very stubborn? Time
Mhm.
is yours, madam.
How do we actually coach or mentor those students who are very stubborn? I don't know, but as a teacher for how many years? Almost 10, yeah, 10 years. I don't know, but I'm into these students, those who are called, other people calls them problem child, but I believe that they are not problem child. These are children who have problems in life. So as an English teacher, during orientation, the first thing that I do is to know them, to get to know them by letting them write their autobiography. So, through their autobiography, through their life story, I would be able to know their experiences. So, you know their backgrounds and you know where they're coming from. You know the reason why they are reacting to different things immediately. You know why some people are being, as what you've said, stubborn. So maybe because the certain student has a problem in terms of financial, family problem, parents, or maybe um, personal, or maybe it may also be through mental health. So maybe the student needs help on those matters.
Okay, thank you so much, madam, for a great answer again. Well, any else for questions? From Madam Gretchen. Here, the questions here. How will I confines to my students who are not interested to attend the class? Type is yours, madam.
How are you going to convince your students to attend the class? So the question is coming from Ma'am Gretchen, also from Philippines. So right now, since we are having virtual classes or distance learning, well, we are a team here in the Philippines. So we consider the parents, the
Mhm.
adults, their guardians to be part of the learning educative process. So you have to inform the parents about their problem. So that's why another thing is to conduct intervention as well. So, but the very first thing that you should do is to inform the parents about the situation. And after that, sooner or later you'll figure it out. So remember that you're a team, and you have to know first, you have to know also the problem of the child, why he is reacting that way.
Okay, thank you so much, madam. Well, any else questions? Okay, from YouTube here, from Mr. Alan. The questions here: what is the best way to have an effective coaching and mentoring when you are having a large class size, considering the time and schedules of teachers who are also having so many subject loads? Like is yours, madam.
Okay. So if one teacher can't do it, then you have to seek assistance from your co-teachers. They can be your colleagues, they can
Mhm.
be the parents or the adults or the guardians at home, and you can also strategize by asking or by applying peer tutoring. So, by using or by imploring peer tutoring, you assign a student who is good in academics to tutor his classmates who are being left behind, or who um, who are not meeting the standards of your class. So they can help each other. So through that, that's one way of helping your students, especially if you have a group of or um, a large class size.
Okay, thank you, madam. Well, from Miss Manolita Ramos Oligo, the questions here. As a coach or mentor, when is the right time to coach and when it's not? It's yours,
Okay.
madam.
The right time to coach, I think, is when you are best ready to coach. How? Physically, um, mentally as well. When you are prepared, when you are anchored with different informations, with skills. So that means you are ready to coach. And when is it not? When should you not coach someone? I think it depends on the situation. um, just like for example, one factor is for you to have, just like what I said earlier, for you to have a you should have a harmonious relationship with someone. So if you already have a negative experience with someone, so definitely you should not engage in coaching with that person. Okay, maybe next time. But while since you have that negative experience with that person, or um, discussions maybe, so I would probably advise not to engage with the coaching process.
Okay, thank you so much, madam. Well, any else questions for you guys? Oh, from Miss Mirna here, from Philippines. The questions here: how can a parent give a feedback to the teacher or coach or mentor, informing him or her that he is not doing his work well without offending him or her? Time is yours, madam.
Okay, it depends, I think, on the manner of how the parent delivers it. So first thing is that you have to tell it directly to the teacher. We have to observe proper channeling of concern. So if your problem, if you need to talk to the teacher, you have to talk to the teacher herself, not to her colleagues, not to her head, not to her, not to your co-parents, but you have to address it directly to her. Okay, and you also have to cite specific information why you think that she needs to improve her teaching styles. So I'm sure with open communication, you'll understand each other.
Okay, thank you, madam. Well,
Yes, Ma'am Windy. So allow me
they
to read it,
are
but go ahead, ma'am.
okay. Time is yours,
Go ahead,
madam.
ma'am. Sorry. Okay. So most parents always say the child does not want to believe them because they are not teachers. What is the best advice for parents to convey to their child? Um, there are really, I agree with you, ma'am. There are really some students who believes more uh, in the ability of their teacher compared to their parents. Maybe because the parents keeps on cracking jokes whenever he or she teaches her child. So first, you have to establish the confidence of your child to you. So just like what teachers do, right?
Mhm.
So sometimes uh, you have to do it in a teacher way. So how do we do it to our students? Um, we look at them equally, okay? And then when we need to call their attention about um, doing something erroneous or committing a mistake, we tell it to them in a nice way. Okay, so sometimes, since we are parents, because I'm also a parent myself, we would sometimes say harsh words, I think, to our kids. But when you are a teacher, you always choose the most salient word, the most respectful word, right? But as a parent, sometimes we cannot control our emotions to our students. So maybe, I hope I answered your question.
Okay, thank you, madam. Well, here from Miss Mary, the questions here: how to handle your stress from your students you as coach or mentor. Time is yours, madam.
How do we handle stress? So we feel stressed whenever we think of the future, right? And in your question, we feel stressed whenever we think of our students. So I think that's a very general question, a very broad question. So you have to take into consideration, I think, why your students are not obeying you, for example. Because the mere fact that there is a disobedience, that will really cause stress, right, to the teachers. So you have to stop discussing your lesson, okay? You have to drop your book first and then start conducting a heart to heart talk to your students for you to know their problems, okay? Go to the root cause of your problem.
Okay, thank you, madam. Well, for the next question from Mr. Denny, the question here: as a supervisor or principal of the school, how coaching can be encouraged? Time is yours, madam.
Well, I'm not a supervisor or a principal, but I was once a an assistant principal in a private school in Makati. Now, how did I encourage um, coaching to my teachers? First of all, I followed the coaching cycle wherein um, you have to build their trust on you. So, of course, when your teachers, when your colleagues has trust on you, definitely they will confide their problems to you. So that's one way of um, starting a starting or yeah, building the coaching process. So first you have to establish their trust on you, because if not, they will not really tell you their problems in the classroom.
Okay, thank you, madam. Well, here from Facebook user, for parents, set ground rules first before starting coaching your child. Time is yours, madam.
I think that is an advice coming from a Facebook user. So it's an advice to the parents. I think that is in line with the question earlier. You have to set ground rules first before starting coaching your child. So thank you for that, sir. Yes,
Okay.
charity starts at home. So value starts at home.
Yes, madam. Okay, well, any else questions for you guys? Okay, well, time is over. Thank you so much, madam, for your valuable time because you have done to share your knowledge about coaching, mentoring, and feedbacking. Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you, Ma'am Wendy. Thank you so much. It was
Yes,
nice
and
meeting you tonight.
nice meeting you, madam. And I'm so sorry for bad connections. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully we can learn something new and we can implement for this life. Please like, share, and comment this page, and please like, share, and subscribe YouTube channel Institute Global Professionals if you learn something from this webinar. And please share the information with your friends. So, thank you so much for your attention. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, shalom, and om swastiastu. See you. Okay, well, here, ladies and gentlemen, today certifications require today's program name, coaching, mentoring, and feedbacking, and the code is IGP 9630. Without code, no one is eligible for certificates. With code, you can claim your certificate anytime without an account on our website. You can visit, but you cannot do anything functionally. Please note, screenshot or take note, guys.